Greetings, and welcome to this brief tutorial on some additional ways you can add detail to stickies and lines using Miro. To begin, select the board you would like to do your work in. If you attended our first tutorial, you might remember that we provided an overview of stickies and lines and created the graphic you see before you. For today's tutorial, we're going to add some additional detail using two features. One, which allows you to add text to your lines, and the second, which will allow you to add tags to your stickies to add additional detail or information. So let's begin first by learning to add some text to our lines. As always, begin by orienting your mouse to the left of your screen on your toolbar and selecting the Select tool. Again, by selecting the Select tool, you will be able to more easily manipulate the items on your Miro board. So let's say I'm working through a process, and I have identified my first, second, and third steps. However, during a meeting with my team, we have identified that step 2 is actually a decision point where staff have to make a decision before moving forward. In order to make the change, I double-click on the sticky using my left mouse button and highlight the text that currently exists and type in the text that I would like. As you can see, we have a decision point. Currently, I have 3 lines moving from this decision point to this next process step. I want to clean up this by erasing some lines that I currently have, such as this lower line by highlighting it and hitting backspace, as well as this upper line. Currently, I want to be able to make a new process step that will allow me to illuminate or illustrate my decision point. So I will highlight this line, click backspace to erase it, and then I will highlight one of my stickies, and using the Control-C feature, copy it. Then I will put my mouse down anywhere on the Miro board, and using Control-V will place my sticky. I can then select my sticky and move it into the place I would like, as well as double-click it using my left mouse button and highlight my new step. As you can see, we have step 1, decision point, step 3, and so we need to go over and label our step 3 is now step 4. If you remember from our first tutorial, using the blue dot located at the cardinal points of the sticky, I can create a line and drag it to the center dot of the sticky I would like to connect it to. Remember, if you choose to connect your line to the sticky, you can connect it to any of the cardinal points, or you can connect it to the center of the sticky. If you choose to connect it to the cardinal points, just be aware that that connection will remain if you try to move the sticky. By connecting the line to the center of the sticky, what you'll be more able to do is move that sticky in relationship, and the line will follow with it. So we have our first line to our step, but now we need to add an additional line indicating that once the decision is made, they will proceed to the next step. Now let's take a look at how we can add some more detail to our lines. So I've indicated that this will be a decision point. Most decision points at a basic level will have a yes or a no. For the purposes of this graph, let's decide that if the answer at our decision point is yes, then the staff should proceed to step 3. In order to indicate that, what I will do is highlight the line, and as you can see, our toolbar has shown up. On the toolbar is a small icon that looks like a plus sign with a T. If you click on that, that will allow you to add text. It's very difficult to see, however, there is a text line, and just begin typing. Once complete, it's much more easier to see your text. Don't worry, if for some reason you lose your text, simply hit the back button and try your process again. So as you can see, we have our text, but when I scroll out, it is very difficult to see what that says. Thankfully, Miro has a feature for that as well. Clicking on the text, you'll now see on your toolbar, you have a couple of options. The first option will allow you to change the direction of your text. So for the purposes of this graph, let's change our direction so that it's horizontal and more easy for our reader to understand. You can also change the color of your text. So if you're working on a different background or you would like it to stand out in a presentation, for now, let's go ahead and keep our color black. You'll also be able to here increase the font of your text. The largest size you can get is 64 fonts. So when thinking about building your graphs, be sure to scale your sticky notes in relationship to the size of text that you'll be able to generate. So here, we've indicated our decision point. So a person will move to step 3. However, we have another decision point, which is the no. For this, we will again click on the line, highlight add text. As you can see now, scrolling this way, you can actually see the background because you have increased the font size of the text from the previous line. And now Miro is defaulting to the 64 size font. So here, our decision point is no. And now you can scroll back out and see that it is clear to the reader that there is a decision point, and yes leads to step 3, no leads to step 4. And the assumption being that after whatever happens at step 3 is complete, the staff would return to the process and begin with step 4. This is one simple way that you can add additional detail to something like a process map to help staff or clients and consumers understand where a decision is being made and what decisions after being made lead to what steps. We'd like to go ahead and talk about one other feature available to us in Miro that allows us to add some additional detail to our sticky notes. In order to access the additional toolbar, much like the rest of Miro, simply highlight the graph you're looking at, in this case, our sticky, and you'll see our toolbar has shown up at the top. Just as a reminder, this toolbar will allow you to change the font size, the font, the alignment, add links, change the size or color of your sticky, add tags, which is the feature we're going to be talking about, add emojis, or lock your sticky to keep others from using it, as well as other additional features that look very similar to some of the commands you might find inside a Microsoft Office document or PowerPoint template. For the purposes of this webinar, what we'd like to focus in on is the tag feature. Tags are a way that you can add additional details to your stickies by selecting a color. For the purposes with a purple background, let's put something in a light blue to make it stand out, and then we'll label the tag. Let's say that you're with your team, you're discussing the process, and you would like to assign a team member to look more deeply into each of the steps that you have identified. The first member of your team, Scott, will be responsible for looking into step 1. So we'll create a tag using the color blue, we'll label it Scott, and then hit create. As you can see now, there's a tag located in the bottom left corner of your sticky that says Scott. And when you scroll out, it's still clear that there is information there. And as long as you orient your team to look for tags and know that they're there, tags are a great way to help people know and orient themselves to where exactly you want them to look or how something is organized or categorized. Let's say you'd like to add another staff member so that you have 2 people looking at the same step. All you have to do is, again, highlight your sticky using your left mouse button so that your toolbar shows up. Navigate to the tag icon, click Add Tag. As you can see now, we still have Scott's tag. So no matter where I go on this Miro board, I'll be able to tag stickies using the Scott tag. I can also remove Scott's tag by highlighting it on a sticky where I've assigned a tag. For this purpose, we'd like to demonstrate how to use 2 tags. So we'll reassign Scott to this sticky and create a new tag for our other team member, Jennifer. For Jennifer, we'll use an orange sticky, label it, hit create, and as you can see now, this sticky is labeled with both Jennifer and Scott's name. As we demonstrated, the tags remain on a Miro board, so you can click the remainder of your tags and assign those to Jennifer or Scott, or Jennifer and Scott, or if there are additional team members, such as Matt, you can create a new tag for that team member. You can continue creating tags and assigning team members so that folks know who's responsible for what aspect of the process. Tags are a simple way to help quickly categorize. You can imagine working with a team on something like a process map, where you could also organize this by what staff member is responsible for that step in the process, what documents may be needed for that step in the process, what are the EHR elements or data elements associated with the process step. Depending on how you're using your stickies, tags is just another layer that allows you to be a little bit more sophisticated and add an extra layer of organization to your graphics. Thank you, and we hope you enjoyed this brief tutorial.